gunfire had stopped. Smoke hung low over the ranch yard. Thomas knelt in the dirt, holding his wife's shaking shoulders, when she opened her mouth and screamed a name he had not heard spoken aloud in 8 years, his brother's name. A brother everyone in Larkspur Creek believed was buried in an unmarked grave out past the canyon trail. Thomas would spend the rest of that night asking himself the same question. How did his silent wife know that name? And why did saying it seem to save all of their lives? Before we ride back to where this all began, tell me, where are you listening from tonight? If stories like this one feel like home to you, I'd be grateful if you'd like this video, subscribe, and stay a while. And if you've ever carried a secret that changed everything when it finally came out, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Now, let's go back to the beginning, to a quiet ranch and a marriage nobody believed in. Thomas Hale first saw her standing outside the Mercantile in Larkspur Creek, a small brown case at her feet, her eyes fixed on the dusty road, like she was waiting for something that would never come. Nobody had told him her name yet. He only knew what the whole town already seemed to know, that she had come from a settlement 2 days east, and that something had happened to her there, something nobody would say out loud. "Her name's Mary," old Mrs. Higgins told him later, lowering her voice, as though the words themselves were dangerous. "Family's dead. She don't talk. Not one word since she got off that stagecoach. You'd be a fool to take her on, Thomas Hale." Thomas had buried his mother 2 winters back, and his father the winter before that. The ranch house had 4 empty rooms and a kitchen that hadn't smelled of fresh bread in longer than he cared to remember. He was 34 years old, and loneliness had become a familiar weight on his chest, like a saddle he never took off. He went to see her anyway. She was sitting on the church steps when he found her, her hands folded in her lap, her dress patched but clean. When he introduced himself, she looked up at him with eyes that held something he couldn't name. Not fear exactly, and not sadness either. Something more like a door that had been shut and locked from the inside. "I'm not looking for a servant," he said carefully. "I'm looking for a wife. Someone to share the work and the quiet. I won't ask you questions you don't want to answer." She studied him for a long moment. Then she nodded, once, and that was all the answer he got. They married 2 weeks later, in front of Pastor Ruiz, with only Sheriff Amos Kane and a handful of curious neighbors as witnesses. Wade Corbin, who ran the ranch bordering Thomas's land, stood at the back of the church with his arms crossed and a smirk Thomas chose to ignore. "Man marries a mute stranger," Corbin said afterward, loud enough for half the town to hear. "Guess desperate men do desperate things." Thomas didn't answer him. He had learned long ago that Corbin's words were like weeds, better left alone than watered with attention. The months that followed surprised him. Mary worked harder than any hired hand he'd ever known. She rose before dawn to milk the cows, kept the garden green even through the dry months, and mended his shirts with stitches so fine they looked machine-sewn. She never spoke, but she hummed sometimes while she worked, soft, broken melodies that seemed to come from somewhere far away. Thomas found himself falling in love with her silence, the way a man falls in love with the quiet of the desert at dusk, slowly, and then all at once. One evening in late autumn, he found her standing at the edge of the barn, staring at an old leather satchel hanging from a nail in the rafters. It had belonged to his brother Eli, gone 8 years now, lost somewhere on a cattle drive that had ended in tragedy nobody fully understood. Thomas kept it there, like a wound he refused to let heal. Mary's hand was trembling when he approached. Her eyes were wet. "Mary?" he said gently. "What is it?" She turned to him, opened her mouth as if to speak, and then closed it again, shaking her head fast. backing away into the shadows of the barn, like something had frightened her badly. That night, Thomas lay awake beside his sleeping wife, staring at the ceiling, turning over a question he could not shake loose. What did his brother's satchel mean to a woman who had never once mentioned knowing him? Winter came hard to Larkspur Creek that year, and with it came a stranger. Thomas noticed him first near the north fence, a thin man on a tired horse, watching the ranch house from a distance, like he was working up the courage to approach. When Thomas rode out to meet him, the man introduced himself as Silas Vance, a former Army scout who claimed to have ridden with the search party that went looking for Eli Hale 8 years back. "Been meaning to come through here a long while," Silas said, his eyes darting toward the house, toward the window where Mary stood watching. "There's things about that search that never sat right with me." Thomas felt something cold settle in his stomach. What kind of things? But Silas only shook his head. "Not yet. Not till I'm sure." He looked again at the window, and something crossed his weathered face. Recognition, maybe, or fear. Then he turned his horse and rode off toward town, leaving Thomas standing in the cold with more questions than he'd started with. That night, Mary would not eat. She sat by the fire, with her hands clasped so tight her knuckles had gone white, and when Thomas asked what troubled her, she only stared into the flames, as though she could see something burning there that he could not. The trouble did not end with Silas. 2 days later, Wade Corbin rode up to the ranch gate with a folded paper in his hand and a smile that did not reach his eyes. "Land deed dispute," Corbin announced, loud enough for the hired hands to hear. "Seems your father's boundary lines were never properly filed with the county. That north pasture your cattle graze on. By rights, it's mine." Thomas took the paper and read it twice. The claim was old, technical, and built on a loophole no honest man would have bothered chasing, unless he'd been planning it for years. "You've wanted this land since before my father died," Thomas said quietly. Corbin's smile widened. "Man's got a right to what the law says is his. Course, I'd be willing to forget the whole thing, for the right price." Or, his eyes slid toward the house, toward Mary's shadow in the window, "for the right piece of land. That north pasture would look mighty fine with a house on it. My house." Thomas's hands curled into fists at his sides, but he held his temper. He knew Corbin wanted a fight he could win in front of witnesses. He wouldn't give him one. That evening, Sheriff Kane rode out to warn him personally. "Corbin's been talking in town," the old lawman said, sitting heavy in his saddle. "Saying strange things about your wife. Saying she come from trouble, and trouble follows her kind." He paused, his weathered face grim. "There's men in this county who'd use any excuse to run a stranger off good land, Thomas. You understand what I'm telling you?" Thomas understood. He had seen it before, how fear could turn neighbors into strangers, and strangers into enemies, all under the banner of protecting what was theirs. He found Mary that night, sitting beside Eli's old satchel, which she had taken down from the barn rafters without his knowing. Her fingers traced the worn leather strap like it was something sacred. When she saw him watching, she did not hide it this time. She only looked at him with those same locked-door eyes, and for the first time, Thomas thought he saw something else behind them. Not fear. Grief. He knelt beside her, took her trembling hands in his own, and spoke the only words he could find. "Whatever happened to you, Mary, whatever you're carrying, I'm not going anywhere. I promise you that." She did not answer, but she did not pull away either. 3 nights later, the dogs began barking in the darkness past midnight, and Thomas woke to the sound of horses thundering toward the ranch house, torches burning orange against the black sky, and the unmistakable crack of a rifle shot splitting the cold desert air. The raid had begun. The first torch landed on the barn roof before Thomas had even reached the window. Outside, 4 riders circled the yard, their faces hidden beneath bandanas, firing shots into the air to spook the horses. Thomas grabbed his rifle from above the door and shouted for Mary to stay low, but when he turned, she was already moving, not away from the danger, but toward the barn. "Mary!" No, she didn't stop. She ran through the smoke toward the burning barn, toward the rafters where Eli's satchel still hung, and for one terrible moment, Thomas thought he would lose her the way he had lost his brother. He caught her at the barn door, pulling her back as the roof groaned above them. That was when he saw one of the riders pull his bandana down, just for a moment, just long enough for the firelight to catch his face. It was Silas Vance. "Corbin paid us," Silas shouted, wrestling his spooked horse under control. "Said he wanted the woman gone and the ranch burned to the ground, so you'd have nothing left to fight for." A shot rang out from near the fence, and Thomas felt fire tear across his shoulder. He fell to one knee, and Mary dropped down beside him, her hands pressing hard against the wound, her whole body shaking. That was when she screamed, "Eli!" The name cracked through the smoke, and gunfire, like a bell tolling in the night. Every rider froze. Silas Vance's horse reared back so hard he nearly fell from the saddle, his face white with something that looked like recognition and shame. One of the masked riders lowered his rifle slowly. Then he pulled the bandana from his face. Thomas stared, blood roaring in his ears, certain the pain from his shoulder was making him see things that could not be real. But the man standing before him, older and harder, and marked by a scar across his jaw that hadn't been there 8 years ago, was his brother. "Eli," Thomas whispered. Eli's rifle fell from his hands. "Mary," he said, and his voice broke on her name. "God forgive me, Mary." What came out that night, in broken pieces between gunfire and tears, was a truth Thomas could never have imagined. Eli had not died on that cattle drive 8 years ago. He had been captured by the same group of outlaws who had once run cattle theft through the eastern settlements, men who threatened to kill his family if he ever returned home. Mary had been held in that same settlement, a girl too frightened to speak after witnessing things no one should witness. Eli had protected her the only way he could, in silence and secrecy, until fear itself had become a language they both understood better than words. When Mary was finally released and sent west, alone, Eli believed he had no right to follow her and no right to return to a brother he'd let believe him dead. Corbin, it turned out, had known pieces of this truth for years, enough to blackmail Eli into leading this raid, promising him freedom from the outlaws in exchange for driving Thomas off his own land. But standing there in the firelight, looking at his brother's face and his wife's tear-streaked eyes, Eli could not go through with it. "I couldn't do it," Eli said, dropping to his knees in the dirt. "Not to you. Not again." Sheriff Kane arrived with 3 deputies before the barn had burned to the ground, drawn by gunfire echoing across the canyon. Wade Corbin was arrested within the week, his blackmail scheme unraveling once Silas Vance, racked with guilt, confessed everything to the sheriff. The ranch survived. The north pasture stayed exactly where it belonged. Months later, on a quiet spring evening, Thomas found Mary sitting on the porch steps beside Eli's old satchel, finally opened, its contents, old letters, a faded photograph, a mother's ring, spread gently across her lap. She looked up at Thomas, and for the first time since he'd known her, she smiled without fear in her eyes. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice still rusty from years of silence, "for not giving up on me." Thomas sat beside her, took her hand, and said nothing at all. After everything he had finally learned, that some of the deepest love a person could offer wasn't found in words. It was found in staying. The end.